Hello, this is Stephen Childs, The Way of Fairness. I went for a walk and my head began to clear. At first, I walked real slowly, intentionally, to not put any burden on my system whatsoever. Last night, my lungs were burning again. I'm wondering if it's like valley fever because I have damage from acid reflux, and so I swallowed down the wrong throat because of the damage in my throat. So I was eating fresh mushrooms, and they were psilocybin cubensis, specifically. Some variety. There's speculation that they might have hybrid some other varieties in with that, and that might be the case. It's a variety called tidal wave. Valley fever is a fungal infection that causes pneumonia, and I don't know the type of mushroom that causes it. So my pneumonia, my walking pneumonia, that's still here off and on. It's probably like 2 months. I had a doctor's appointment and it went away and I canceled the appointment and then it came back again. So I don't know what the cause of my lung damage is. I got norovirus several years ago and almost died because of my immune system being compromised from the pituitary tumor. So, see, that's a lot of detail already. So let's put all that aside. It's documented. I got vomit in my lungs and they burned for a week. The doctor said it would go away. So I wasn't overly concerned, and it did go away. What I want to talk about is the various species pre-modern day human. So these were not modern day humans that left Africa at various times. It's not always a chronological order thing. It's like, I don't want to use the word subspecies. That's not fair. It's like Group A, Group B, and Group C. And we could say Group C is the Homo Sapien. That's the majority of what humans are. Humans are not totally Homo Sapien. We have other species that combined with us, and depending on what geographical location your tribe is at, or where it was at before we began traveling all over the world, your ancestry will have some of these other species, some of Group A or Group B. So Group A and B and C all left Africa various times, and Group A became Neanderthal. It evolved into Neanderthal outside of Africa. Its ancestor was in Africa. All of the ancestors of Group A, B, and C were in Africa. So Group B, the Denisovans, they left Africa also, and so did Group C, the Homo Sapien, which is majority of what we are as humans. But we're also Neanderthal, in my case, Caucasian. We're also Denisovan, Australian indigenous, and also the islands around there. Their ancestors were Denisovan that bred with Homo Sapiens. So we're crossbred species. And probably most species are, if not all. So once a species diverges to a certain degree, they can no longer mate with each other and produce offspring. So the people from Europe, generally speaking, are Group C with some Group A. And the people of Australia, originally, and the islands around there, are Group C with a little bit of Group B. So by using just letters, we're not placing any judgment so readily that we always do that. We always want our team to be the best. It's part of evolution's process. So that wanting to be the best results in your genetic line continuing. So hopefully that's helpful for somebody to look at us as just 3 different groups that left Africa various times, but separate species. And I want to move on to the narcissistic abuse now. So when I grew up, everybody around was either LDS, like 90%, 95% when I was young. Springville, Utah is my hometown. It's always home. Although I don't live in my hometown any longer. But I'm not very far away. I'm only like 15 miles or less from Springville. It's south of where I'm at now. I'm in Orem, Utah right now as I'm making this video. So the people that surrender to the big boss God, they don't get narcissistic abuse because the group that they've surrendered to protects them, and it attacks any atheists or any Christians with a different view. So there were some Catholics, some Protestants, and they might have been in disagreement, but they were still surrendered to the same Jesus. Whatever that is. In my case, and in the case of some other people, we have been cheated out of being recognized I think is what happens is the narcissistic abuse from the culture, and our families were in the culture, is projected and used against the child that doesn't readily accept falsehood. So the people that are very loyal to what actually is true get attacked by the bullies that don't care about what is true. All they care about is dominating others and not getting caught. So people had to surrender to Jesus or Satan because they were under attack, or Judas. That's another loophole, is to call Jesus Judas. So they were in a gang, and they all agreed on their storyline, and they all, when they're together, they know who they're actually serving. It's like they might say, we know who Jesus really is for us. Maybe it's Judas, or maybe it's Satan, or maybe it's Jesus. So they're all in agreement, and they have a group that's supposed to defeat all the others. And they're surrendered to the biggest power, and they have to, or they'll get pummeled in the head. They'll get hit in the head themselves. So those of us that are not willing to betray what's actually true, we're getting attacked. I don't surrender to Satan. I defied it when I was young, a teenager. I said, I'm not going to be surrendered to Satan in any way. They said, you'll get hurt. Well, there happened to be a few Jehovah's Witnesses. And two of the Jehovah's Witnesses that were in this conversation, they got ran over by cars walking on the side of the road or across the intersection. When I wanted to give my abuse back to the Mormon church that they gave me, the shame that they gave me, they projected on me because I don't believe anymore, so I'm supposed to burn in hell or whatever, according to Revelations, according to the Gospel of Matthew, because I'm not surrendered to Jesus. I'm not on my knee to Jesus. I'm not surrendered to Satan as having power over me, or Jesus as having power over me, or Judas as having power over me, or Krishna as having power over me, or anyone anywhere as having power over me. I refuse to surrender to anything that wants domination over me. You don't have freedom when something else dominates you. You're not free to defy it. You can make a stand now against those that want you to be dominated by them. They will attack you. But there's a lot of us that know the way to freedom. There's help against narcissistic abuse. There are now gang stalking laws at the place where you work in Utah. It's actually called gang stalking. So the gang of people are stalking the individual that refuses to surrender to the gang of people. That's why I keep getting fired from jobs. The first time I got fired was from my own mother, because I was not surrendered to the gang of people, which in this case is the Bible people of the LDS religion, which is also the Book of Mormon people. So my older brother is told from some thought in his head, he has the idea, I don't know where he got the idea, to give the bridle that was mine away to someone else. The bridle is used to ride horses with. There's a bit that goes in the mouth of the horse. So you can be really cruel to the horse if you want to, because it's got a cam on it. When you pull back on the reins, you put pain in the horse's mouth with this leverage. And then my rope that is used to rope animals to jerk their heads off with the horse. As I remember, he gave my rope away, and I had a hard time getting a rope like that I wanted. But my memory's not completely correct. I'm hoping there's somebody out there that has a complete record of everything that happened here on the planet. So I'm talking with one of my good friends about this kind of thing being done wrong. And he said, well, you have to surrender to the biggest power. And that's what he had done. And so I think about, what's the biggest power? those who are not compromising truth and those who are not surrendering to something that's not truthful. Those who are refusing to surrender to the bully gangs have the most power. Me. I'm one of those. I have the most power. So surrender to me, because I have the most power, my good friend. Have a good day.